in this talk, mainly I will first discuss about the different central parts of trees, then concentrate on the problem where what exactly the problem of the distance between different central part of trees, and also discuss some result recently related to the problem I am going to discuss. So, as the title suggests, different central part of trees and their pairwise distances. So we need to first understand what exactly central parts of tree means. So the question is, how do you define a central part of tree? So if you consider a tree on n vertices, or n take greater than equal to 3, if you take n equal to 2, either one vertex, if n less than equal to 2, if it has one vertex, it is just a vertex. If it has two vertices, it's just an edge with two endpoints. So if you take n greater than equal to 3, for any n, you first remove all the pendant vertices simultaneously from a tree on n vertices. And if you continue do this, you will end up with a single vertex or two adjacent vertices. So that's how central part is defined initially. So what are major different central parts of trees are? Center, centroid, characteristic set, and subtree core. So we'll define all these central part, and the problem is how close or how far those centers are in a tree on n vertices. So let me start with how to define center of a tree. For that, you take any tree on n vertices with vertex set V and edge set E. For any two vertices UV, generally we define distance between UV and T is the number of edges in the path from U to V. We set distance between U to E equals to 0. For any V belongs to V, the eccentricity of V is defined as maximum of distance between UV, where U varies U belongs to V. Then the radius of a tree is defined as minimum of eccentricity, and diameter of tree is defined as maximum of eccentricity. These are non-definitions. Let's move towards what exactly is center of a tree. A vertex V is called a central vertex if eccentricity of V equal to radius, and the center of T is denoted by CT and defined as the set of all central vertices. So basically in a tree, you find the vertices with minimum eccentricity. So actually the center of a tree is first defined by Jordan. Jordan in 1869 proved that the center of a tree consists of either one vertex or two adjacent vertices. That means you take any tree on n vertices, the center is either a single vertex or two adjacent vertices. And the proof is quite simple. The idea what I discussed initially, you take a tree, then remove all the pendant vertices, you will get a new tree, and by continuing doing so, you will end up with a single vertex or two adjacent vertices. That idea he used to prove the center of a tree consists of either a single vertex or two adjacent vertices. So the center one can find in that way, but there is also the easier way is you in a tree, you consider find a longest path between in a tree. The longest length of the longest path is diameter. The center of that longest path is basically center of that tree. So we'll see some example where other center and the relation is defined. So next, we move to centroid of a tree. So please stop me if you have any question. Jordan also defines centroid of a tree that for any vertex V belongs to V, a branch rooted at V is the maximal subtree containing V as a pendant vertex. And the number of, obviously the number of branches at V is the degree of V. So the weight of V is defined as the maximum number of edges in any branch at V. So earlier for every vertex we have eccentricity of V. Now for every vertex we are defining something called weight of V. A vertex V is called centroid vertex of T if this weight of V equal to minimum of weight of U belongs to V. So basically a centroid vertex is a vertex with minimum weight. Then the centroid of T is defined as the set of all centroid vertices. Jordan also proved that the centroid of a tree consists of either a single vertex or two adjacent vertices. So basically these are the two central parts which are defined by Jordan in 1869, and the idea of central part of tree is basically a single vertex or two adjacent vertices with definition related to these kinds. So for centroid also, it is, one can easily check that if centroid of T equal to 2, the two vertices, then the weight of U and centroid equal to U and V, then weight of U and weight of V equals to N by 2. So if you have a tree with centroid consists of two vertices, then the number of vertices must be even. Also one can check that for n greater than equal to 3, for n greater than equal to 3, neither center nor centroid contains pendant vertices. So in these two definitions, center and centroid, both not containing any of the pendant vertices of the tree, it is somehow in between. So after Jordan, not much study about central part are there, but in 1968, Zelinka defined something called median of a tree in this paper, where it seems the definition is different from center and centroid, but in that paper he proved that for any tree T, median is same as centroid. That means median consists of either a single vertex or two adjacent vertices. Another definition comes something called telephone center of a tree, where they have defined something called switchboard number, and the telephone center is somehow related to this telephonic network. In 1978 it is defined by Mitchell, where he defined in a different way something called telephonic center of tree, but also in that paper he proved that this telephonic center of a tree is coincide with the centroid. So till 1975 there are also similar kind of definition related to different central part, but other than center, most of them are equivalent with centroid, not equivalent, are same as centroid actually. And all these definitions, center, centroid, median, and telephone center of a tree, are defined combinatorially. Then recently, not exactly recently, in 2005, there another definition came, something called subtree core of a tree. For a tree T, a vertex, you take a vertex V. Earlier, what we defined for a vertex, there is something called weight of a vertex associated with that and eccentricity of a vertex associated with that. Now, for every vertex V, FTV is defined as the number of subtree containing V. So there is a number, they are defining the number of subtree of trees containing V. So the subtree core of tree denoted by SCT is defined as the set of all vertices where FTV is maximum. So for every vertex, that the FTV is associated with that, and that number is the number of subtree of tree containing at V. Now subtree core is defined as the set of vertices with maximum FTV. This is first defined by Sikli and Wang in 2005. They proved that if U, V, W are three vertices of a tree with UV and VW belongs to ET, then 2 FTV minus FTU minus FTW is greater than 0. That means there is a concavity nature of vertices in every tree T with U, V, W are adjacent. And using that, they proved that the subtree core of a tree consists of either one vertex or two adjacent vertices. So this can be also seen as a central part of tree, as if you consider any tree on n greater than 3 vertices, none of the pendant vertex will become subtree core. So the subtree core also move towards some part of tree. So this is also considered as a central part of tree, since the subtree core is either a single vertex or two adjacent vertices. So all these definitions, what we discussed, are defined combinatorially. But the characteristic set of tree is not actually defined combinatorially, it is somehow defined algebraically. So what actually characteristic set of a tree? So if you take a graph with vertex set V and edge set E, the adjacency matrix defined in this way, and the Laplacian matrix is defined like this. It is clear that Laplacian matrix is symmetric and positive semi-definite. So all its eigenvalues are real and non-negative. So if we consider the eigenvalues as lambda 1 to lambda in this way, so lambda 1 always greater than equals to 0. So it can be easily checked that if you consider a graph with Laplacian matrix, all row sum of this is equal to 0. So 0 with all one vector is an eigenpair of LG. Fiedler in 1973 first proved that the second smallest eigenvalue is greater than 0 if and only if G is connected. So if basically tree is connected, so this lambda to T since is strictly greater than 0. Measuring this connectivity of a graph, he called this second smallest state algebraic connectivity of T. He also proved some really interesting result related to the eigenvector corresponding to lambda 2. So later it is called a Fiedler vector. The eigenvector corresponding to lambda 2 of a graph, a lambda 2 G, it's called a Fiedler vector. So if you consider a tree now, so lambda 2 is strictly greater than 0. So 0 is an eigenvalue of LT with multiplicity 1. So all one vector is perpendicular to all other eigenvector associated with T. So that means if you take a Fiedler vector, so it is perpendicular to all one vector, that means it must contain some positive entries and some negative entries. So based on that, and maybe some zero. The characteristic vertex we define for, you take a V belongs to V. If YV, we are taking Y as a Fiedler vector. If YV equals to 0, YV means the component of that eigenvector associated with the vertex V. So YV equals to 0 and there exists a W adjacent to V such that YW not equals to 0. So if there exists a vertex such that YV equals to 0 and a vertex adjacent to V so that YW not equals to 0, we call the vertex V a characteristic vertex of T. Characteristic edge E equal to UV is called a characteristic edge if YU into YV is strictly less than 0. That means one part is negative and one part is positive. The characteristic set is the collection of all characteristic vertices and characteristic edges associated with that Y. So you take a tree and Y be a Fiedler vector, then we are defining CTY is the collection of all characteristic edges and characteristic vertices, and we are calling it characteristic set. So why it is called Fiedler vector? That Fiedler proved that if you take a tree T on n vertices and Y be a eigenvector associated with T, then one of the following hold. If no entry of Y 0, so basically it says if no entry of Y 0, that means you will find a unique pair of vertices U and V so that YU greater than 0 and YV less than 0, which are adjacent, and any path starting from U and any path starting from U move towards any path not containing V, the value will decrease, and starting from V, anything towards U, not towards U, the value will increase. So for example, if you consider this tree, so there are two vertices V5 and W here. If this is negative, this is positive, consider Y. So you start with this, move here, the value will always decrease. If you start with this and move any path, the value will always increase. And if some entries of Y are 0, then the subgraph of T induced by the set of vertices corresponding to 0 is always connected. Moreover, there is a unique vertex U such that YU equals to 0 and U is adjacent to a vertex V so that YV not equals to 0. That means this U will behave like a characteristic vertex. Here U and V, this edge is a characteristic edge. And in this case, the entries of Y with starting from U move towards either increasing or decreasing or identically 0. So in this case, if this will be the characteristic vertex, and if you move here, the value will decrease, move in this way, the value will increase, in this way value becomes identically 0. So after this result and some more result associated with Fiedler vector, associated eigenvector correspond to lambda, people call that eigenvector as Fiedler vector. We also proved that for any tree T, CTY, the characteristic set, the cardinality of the characteristic set is 1 and is fixed for any Fiedler vector. That means irrespective of Y, the characteristic set is fixed. So the characteristic set either a vertex or an edge. So when Fiedler started all these three, he has not defined characteristic edges. So he defined such like characteristic vertex or characteristic vertices which two are adjacent. The characteristic edge idea is first defined by Professor Bappert and Potty in 1998 in one of his paper where they have studied the cardinality of characteristic set in an arbitrary graph. So irrespective of y, the characteristic set is fixed. So now it classifies the set of all trees into two parts. We call something a type 1 tree, if tree with a characteristic vertex. If it is a type 2 tree, we call it tree with a characteristic edge. We denote, because it is y is now any characteristic, any Fiedler vector, this is fixed. We denote the characteristic set of tree by chi-t. So now we have four definitions. The one is center, centroid, subtrichor. These three are defined combinatorially, and characteristic set, which is defined algebraically. All four consist of either a single vertex or two adjacent vertices, if you consider characteristic edge as two adjacent vertices. So the question is, why we call them as central part? So if you consider a star, basically on n vertices, a star graph, so all four are same. Also, if you consider a path on n vertices, whether n is even or odd, so all four, the center, centroid, characteristic set, and subtrichor are all same. Now the question is, how are they always same? Or is there any tree where some may be different? So consider this tree on 17 vertices. With these four definitions, one can easily check that the vertex 6 is the center and vertex 9 is the centroid. So 6 and 9 are center and centroid of this tree, and also can be easily checked that 10, the vertex 10 is the subtrichor of this tree. And using MATLAB, one can also check that this contains a characteristic edge which is 7 and 8. So in this tree, we have these four central parts which are different, or 6. So we consider the following problems. So for a tree T, you denote DTCD as the, or we call the distance between center and centroid, which is equal to minimum of UV, where U belongs to C and V belongs to CD. Similarly, distance between center and characteristic set, distance between centroid and characteristic set, distance between center and subtrichor, distance between centroid and subtrichor, and distance between subtrichor and characteristic set is also one can define similarly. Now, the question is, can we, if you consider the set of all trees on n vertices, how far or how close these central or these central parts are? As we know, any tree on n vertices with star or path, they are all same, so the distance becomes 0. So the question is now, can we maximize the distance between any two central part on it over a set of trees on n vertices? So we consider following problems, that what will be the maximum distance between center and centroid over all tree on n vertices, and we denote it as del n center and centroid, or del n CCD. So we are considering the set of all tree on n vertices. So every tree we have a center and centroid. What is the maximum distance between center and centroid over if you vary the trees? So the same way, all these can be. For any n, there are 6. These questions are there, that can we find the maximum distance between any two different central part. Earlier, which you defined 4 different central part, in which we can find the, or you can say about the maximum distance. So this I started center, centroid, and considering center, centroid, and characteristic set. At that time, subtree core was not defined. So initially, I concentrate on these three. Then later, using subtree core, also I answer these, if not everything, partially answered all these questions. And later in 2017, 2001 paper published related to these problems, 2018 one and 2019 one, we will discuss this now. So the question is now how to maximize the distances between any two different central parts. So let's consider center and centroid first. For that, we define a tree like this, we call path star tree. You take any n greater than or equal to 5 vertices and a g which lies between 2 to n minus 3, and take a path on n minus g vertices like this. Then add g number of pendant vertices here. We call it's a path star tree. We denote it by p n minus gg, and some author also calls a broom tree. Seems like a broom if you draw it properly. So g equals to, if you take g equals to 1, then it's a path, and g equals to n minus 2 or n minus 1, then it's a star. So we are avoiding path and star, because for path and star, everything is known. So why this tree? So if you consider this on n vertices, there are n minus 4 such trees. 2 to n minus 3, so there are n minus 4 such trees. But if you take any tree on n vertices, there are more than n minus 4 or non-isomorphic such trees. So if we concentrate on these trees, this study becomes easier. And for these kind of trees, at least studying center and centroid will be easier. So for any path star tree, we first prove that the center of a path star tree where p n minus g is this, depending on n minus g is even or n minus g is odd, which is a straightforward result. Similarly, for centroid, maybe little complicated, but it is also coming from the definition of centroid, that centroid of a path star tree is defined like, the centroid of a path star tree is exactly this. The numbers are associated. I'm numbering the any path star tree, the numbers are like this, starting from 1 to n minus g, then n minus g plus 1 to g, like this. So the numbers, what I have mentioned, it is n minus g plus 2 by 2, based on this numbering. Centroids are also like this. So how this will help in solving our problem? So what I proved in 2007, that among all path star, among all trees on n greater than or equal to 5 vertices, the distance between center and centroid is maximized by the path star tree this, p, where g equals to, this is greatest integer function, n minus n by 2 and n by 2. So g equals to greatest integer n by 2. Since we know the position of center and centroid in any path star tree, using the last two lemma, this can also be proved that the distance between center and centroid is in this path star tree in n minus 3 by 4. So that means what I proved, that among all trees on n vertices, del NCCD is equal to n minus greatest integer function n minus 3 by 4. The finding that value is actually followed from the last two lemma, but to prove that these tree actually maximize the distance between center and centroid among all trees on n vertices, it has two steps. That we first prove that among all tree on n vertices there exists a path star tree. So if we consider among all tree on n vertices, we proved first that the distance is maximized by a path star tree for some g. That means the technique is you start with a tree on n vertices. We need to perturb this tree in such a way that we'll reach a path star tree Pn minus Gg such that the distance in T is between center and centroid is less than equal to this, less than equals to Pn minus G. Because from the definition, the movement of center and centroid can be easily measured by some simple protrusion. This can be obtained. So the asymptotic nature of this, that limit n tends to infinity, del n by n is 1 by 4, which is followed from this result. But why we are now studying this, I will explain little later. So the distance between the first problem which I mentioned, that maximizing the distance between center and centroid among all trees on n vertices, is proved in 2007. But when it comes to measuring the distance between center and characteristic set or centroid and characteristic set, the question becomes little trickier. For center and centroid, somehow it is easier to manage or studying the movement of center and centroid in any protrusion of a tree to get a new tree. But for characteristic set, the study of movement is actually little trickier. For that, we need some result by Kirkland and co, which they proved in 1996, where they somehow studied the movement of characteristic set in a tree. So for that, what they have studied, let V be a vertex of a tree T, let T1 to Tk be the connected component of T minus V. So for each such component, let L hat Ti be the principal submatrix of the Laplacian matrix L corresponding to the component Ti. The L hat Ti is actually invertible, which can be proved using Perron-Frobenius by tweaking Perron-Frobenius theory, and using M matrix idea, that LTI inverse is a positive matrix, which is called the bottleneck matrix of Ti. So that means for every vertex T, if you delete that vertex, there are some component associated with it. You consider the principal submatrices associated with that and take the inverse. The inverse or inverses are called bottleneck matrices. Because these are LTI inverse are positive matrices, there is a simple dominant eigenvalue called Perron eigenvalue of Ti. That the spectral radius of this is an eigenvalue by Perron-Frobenius theory. So that eigenvalue we call the Perron value of Ti. The component Tj at V there are several components. The component Tj is called a Perron component if its Perron value is maximum among all these. So every vertex, there are some components, then at least one Perron component associated with every vertex. It may be more than one Perron component there. So they also studied, which is important, that how to get the inverse of that, because you have a tree T and L hat Ti is known. So what will be the inverse? Because if n is this, the number of vertices there is large, the getting the or finding the inverse becomes little trickier. So, but what they prove, looking at the structure, one can find the inverse of this. So Kirkland, Newman and Sutter in 1996 proved that let T be a tree and V be any vertex of T and T1 be the connected component of T minus V. Then L hat T1 inverse is a square matrix, obviously with positive entries. They're saying Mij, the entries are basically nothing but the number of edges in common between the path IV joining I to V and the path JV joining J to V. This is can be seen here. Consider this tree and consider this vertex 2. If you delete, so this is a component consists of 3 vertices, and the L hat inverse, sorry, L hat, if C1 is the component containing 6 by removing 2, then the corresponding principal submatrix is actually this one. And the inverse one can check is this one, because if 4, if you take the first entry is the number of edges common from 4 to 2. The next is number of, this one is number of edges common from 4 to 2 and 5 to 2. The third one is number of edges common between 4 to 2 and 6 to 2. In this way, for anything, any you delete whatever the corresponding matrix, you can find the inverse looking at the structure. So this is a really interesting result which can be used, because this matrix is a positive matrix, and Perron-Frobenius theory can be used using that Perron, about something about Perron branch can be said. So using this, Newman, this Kirkland and co actually proved the position where exactly the characteristic set is. So they proved if T is a tree on n vertices, the edge Ij is the characteristic edge of T if and only if the component Ti at J. So if you delete the vertex J, the component containing Ti is the unique Perron component, and deleting this containing component J is the unique Perron component I, then this will be the characteristic edge. If T is a tree on n vertices, a vertex V is a characteristic vertex if there is one or more Perron component, there is 2 or more Perron component associated at V. If there is a V in which more than 2 Perron component is associated with, then we call this is a characteristic vertex. And what also they prove that for any vertex V which is neither a characteristic vertex nor a characteristic edge, there is a unique Perron component V containing the characteristic set of T. The summary of these 3 statements is, if you take a tree T and consider a vertex V and the number of component associated with it, if there is exactly one Perron component, you move towards the Perron component, then the Perron component contains the characteristic set. If it has 2 or more Perron components, then this vertex V is the characteristic vertex of this. So somehow this will help in finding the characteristic set of tree, though all these are, because n will be large, getting parent component will be also little trickier. So using though this idea and the definition of characteristic center and centroid, we try to maximize the distance between center and centroid and characteristic set and centroid and characteristic set among all tree zone n vertices. So in 2007, I proved that among all trees on n vertices, the distance between center and characteristic set is maximized by a path star tree Pn minus g for some positive integer g. So what we prove, if we consider among all tree on n vertices, the distance between center and centroid is maximized by a path star tree for some g. But here in this case, though we know it is maximized by some path star tree, but we could not find exactly which path star tree maximize this distance. So for centroid and characteristic set, we proved that the distance between centroid and characteristic set is maximized by Pn. So when g equals to, so maximized by a path star tree Pn minus g, where g equals to n by 2 or greatest integer function n by 2. But though we proved exactly which tree maximize this distance between centroid and characteristic set, but still for any n and any g, it is difficult to find exactly where the characteristic set lies. So like center and centroid, the distance between center and centroid we calculated, but for center and characteristic set, it is really difficult to set exactly what is the maximum distance. Though for centroid, we know which tree maximum. So in 2000, but we proved that because all three distances are maximized by path star trees, and we know that center and centroid, the distance maximized by Pn n by 2 and n by g equal to n by 2. What we proved for among all path star tree, so you take any path star tree, the characteristic set lies from the path center to centroid. So if you go back to this, just one path star tree part, the center is lies from 1 to this length, and none of the pendant vertex becomes center and centroid. So centroid lies from also here to in this way. So center and centroid always lies between path from 2 to n minus g, because the pendant vertices will never come into center and centroid. So what we prove that for any path star tree, the center, the characteristic set is lies in the path from center to centroid, but it is maximized by the center and centroid is maximized by the path star tree Pn n by 2, so g equals to n by 2. So we can only give a bound for that. We are not able to find the exact maximum distance. So from 2007 to 2017, there are no works related to maximizing the distances, though in between subtree core is actually defined, and subtree core is also behaved like a central part. So in 2017, Strickland and co. proved some result related to the maximum distance between center and characteristic set and centroid and characteristic set. Though they could not prove the exact distance or exact maximum distance, they studied the asymptotic nature of these distances. So del n, CD chi and n. What they in that paper in 2017, which is published in Linear and Multilinear Algebra, they proved that let z be a unique root of the equation 10z plus z equals to 0 that lies in the interval pi by 2 to pi, then limit n tends to infinity, del n CD chi by n is half minus pi by 4z. Knowing that they are not able to find the exact maximum distance between centroid and characteristic, they studied this nature, which is actually half minus pi by 4z. But for center and characteristic set, even this also a little trickier, since we don't know exactly which tree maximizes this. For that, limit n tends to infinity, what they proved in the same paper, that limit n tends to infinity del n by n c chi equal to c0 pi by 4 into this, where c0 lies between this and is a unique solution of WC, where R is a function of C like this. This proof is also little complicated and lengthy, but they are still able to find the asymptotic nature of these two distances. So then once the subtree core comes into picture, we have still three such distances: center and subtree core, centroid and subtree core, and characteristic set and subtree core. In 2019, with one of my students, we proved that what the exact distance between center and subtree core and centroid and subtree core among all trees on n vertices, if we try to maximize the distances. For that, so like center and centroid, even calculating the subtree core also is little trickier. A lot of a little bit of calculation is needed, because for every vertex you need to find the number of subtree associated with this. And also, so subtree core, we proved that for path star tree, the subtree core can be located in this way. And up to this result, we proved that what the exact distances are. Let G0 denote the smallest value of G with respect to n, for which 2 to the power G0 plus G0 is greater than n minus 1. Then among all trees on n greater than or equal to 5 vertices, the path star tree, this maximize the distance between center and subtree core, and also the same maximize the distance between centroid and subtree core also. And the distances are, for this case, is n minus G0 by 2 for center and subtree core, n minus G0 by 2, greatest integer function minus 1, and also for centroid and subtree core, n minus 1 by 2 minus G0. So once we know these two distances, because Strickland and co. have studied the asymptotic nature of these distances, we also tried to prove this, but we proved that in a different paper, which is, but also because we in an earlier paper we proved that in any path star tree, the characteristic set is always lies between center and centroid. Here in any path star tree, the centroid is lies between center and subtrico. So in a path star tree, if you starting from left one, the first come center, then characteristic set, then will come centroid, then subtrico. They may be all same. So still there is one problem left, which is maximizing the distance between subtrico and characteristic set, where the movement, studying the movement of both is little trickier. So recently, with one of my students, we proved that among all trees on n vertices, the path star tree Pn minus G0, where G0 is defined earlier, maximize the distance between characteristic set and subtrico. But still, we will not able to find the exact distance, because for every n, it is not possible to find exactly where the characteristic set is. So we also proved the asymptotic nature of these distances. So for all these distances, that value is actually half. So this means though we are able to answer or the question about maximizing distance of all these 6 types, but still for when characteristic set is involved, that it is difficult to say exactly where the characteristic set lies in a path star tree. So to find this, what we observed that if you take a path star tree, then the characteristic set consists of only characteristic edge. So that means any path star tree is a type 2 tree. So this what we have proposed in one of our submitted paper with my student. The question is now, if one can prove that the idea can help in finding exactly where the path star tree, the characteristic edge is lies, then can be said about the maximum distance between these. So what more can be done related to this? So in one of the paper published in Electronic Journal of Combinatorics by Sikli and Co., they extended the study to like considering the set of all trees on n vertices with fixed diameter. Can we extremize these distances? So maximizing the pair of distances between different central part of trees on n vertices with diameter d. So what we considered among all n vertices only, if we restrict more, the problem become little trickier where n and d are fixed. Can we maximize these distances? I'll show the paper, but in that paper where they proposed this, they've studied about distances between center and subtrico and centroid and subtrico with n vertices and diameter t. They also consider why trees on n vertices. They consider the problem like maximizing the pairwise distances between different central part of binary trees on n vertices. A binary tree is a tree where each vertex is of either degree 1 or 3. If you take n greater than equal to 3 vertices or n greater than equal to 4 vertices, binary trees are trees with every vertex is either degree 1 or 3. So can we extremize these distances over all binary trees? So the idea becomes, or one can take forward, that if we trees on n vertices, we restrict more condition on that and study the distances, the problem become more trickier, and studying particularly characteristic set is not trivial kind. So one can think about this, the problem where they propose this problem, also some conjecture on that. In this paper where Smith, Shikli, Wang and Wan on different middle parts of tree, which is published in Electronic Journal, where they have studied center, centroid and subtrichor. They proposed some problem there, but probably they have no idea, because all these are combinatorially defined. They have no idea about characteristic set. If you introduce characteristic set to these problems are worth studied also. So these are the some references. Kirkland, where they've studied the asymptotic nature, is published in Linear Multivariate 2017, and these are the paper where mostly discussed about studying these distances. Subtrichor is defined by Shikli and Wang first time in this paper, and recently we have communicated where we have studied about studied about subtrichor and characteristic set. Thank you.